Hello, thank you for tuning in to Healing Waters Podcast, Journey Out of Abusive Relationships. And this particular podcast is going to be about a poem named Intentions. I wrote this poem when I was, in an abusive relationship, and it just shed light on just how I was thinking and the things that I wanted to do or the actions that I wanted to take. So intentions. Whispers of my heart seek out like flowing honey. Enchanted, vulnerable windows are the havens to my soul. So I was very, of course, vulnerable in this season of my life, which I'm sure you are as well. Emoji, and when I say vulnerable, I mean like emotionally vulnerable, even physically vulnerable. Because I know a lot of these abusive relationships can sometimes be in the midst of that caregiver caretaker type of relationship. So I know that that isn't something that we hear a lot. A lot of these abusive relationships happen in the midst of that dynamic. If you are, because you could be ill and someone could be your caregiver and you're experiencing abuse within that relationship dynamic. And I just want to tell you, hang in there and definitely seek peace in the midst, seek support. Um, Pain and agony overflow like the ocean swells. I am overwhelmed. So yes, of course, being in this type of relational dynamic, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's a burnt out, overwhelming feeling, and you feel this every day you wake up. It's like new days come, new experiences come, but that overwhelming, overburdened feeling just kind of lays underneath the surface, right? It just kind of it glimmers beneath the surface. Move these feelings into the unknown. Transform my worry into love so that I can arrive and be. So that worry is a constant worry. If you're just tuning in, if you go back to previous episodes, I have a few poems that talk about this. There is a constant worry in the midst of these relationships because you don't know what's coming next. You don't know how to be. You don't know how to walk. You don't know how to talk. For fear, sometimes, of aggravating that other person, right? So you're living in worry. You're living in fear. You're living in dread. You're living in numbness, right? Because you come so predispositioned to this that it's everything's becomes numb. You don't see a way out of the situation, so you just numb. Like you just numb to everything around you, right? So and then so that I can arrive and be so um ultimately, I'm sorry guys, that was my son in the background. So ultimately you have to hush and quiet who you are, right? You have to quiet who you are for fear that if you show up in your whole self or who you really are, that person will try to like rip out pieces of who you are. So a lot of times, and a lot of these type of relational dynamics, you kind of become what the abuser wants you to become for fear of retaliation, right? So you can't just be who you are naturally. You become a mold, a mask of who they want you to become, right? And it's such a sad thing to see, even from the outside looking in. It's so sad to see, and people become shells of themselves. People become uh, minute, if I should say. You become like a shell of who you used to be. A lot of times you lose yourself in the midst of these dynamics because if you have become a mask or this mold of who this other person wants you to become, you would tend to lose your personality, who you are. You would like forget who you are, right? But that's the end of that particular poem that I wrote called Intentions. And once again, if you are in this relationship dynamic, please seek support. Please seek help. There is help out there. Seek your circle. Definitely do your research. Sit down and definitely be safe, especially like if you have children in the midst of these of this relationship, or I shall say these. I say that because a lot of times you won't just be in one relationship with this type of dynamic. There will be like micro relationships around you. Like you'll have friendships that are codependent, or they kind of weigh a bit too heavy on your side. You know, it tends to bleed out into other aspects of your life. You may even have this a relationship dynamic at work with, you know, coworkers or bosses and things like that, where, you know, you're just kind of taking a back seat to mistreatment within whatever relational dynamic that it is. But I will be praying for you. God bless you, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.